Alright, so today I wanted to show you how I mix up my bonsai soil. I'm just going to do a small batch today so you guys can get sort of the idea. The main ingredients I'm going to use are just a big bag of peat moss, some perlite, and then I'm using sort of a patio paver mixture, basically just some nice fine rocks. With this, you can use a couple different things. All you're looking for is a nice coarse gravel of some sort that kind of break up the roots and give a little bit of air within your soil. All right, we'll start with the perlite. What you're going to want to do is just take some kind of a sifter that has pretty small holes, but not too small. You want the dust to all come out, but not the big chunks. So I'll go ahead and get a scoop of perlite in there, and you can see, once I start sifting, all that dust coming down. That's what you don't want in your soil. That'll end up clogging it up and not letting water drain properly through. So up next, I've got my perlite. It's going to be the same process, taking that sift and getting all the dust out of there. I'll show you all the comparisons at the end when they're next to each other. So once again, hitting against, and you'll see all that powder falling down. Now with the perlite and the peat moss, be expected to lose a good amount of the soil you're actually keeping. You're going to lose a lot of dust and material. I actually just put mine into a big bin down here and use it in my gardens or starting seeds or using them to propagate other trees. So it doesn't go to waste, but it won't go into my bonsai soil. And then finally, I've got my patio paver rock, and it's going to be the same process. Just a nice sift to get all that dust out. Now in this, there are much bigger rocks that I like to separate as well that are just a little bit too big for the bonsai soil I'm working on. I keep these to either weigh down trees that I've put in pots kind of along the edge of the soil, or in really small plantings. This can look like some kind of a nice landscape rock, so it always comes in handy. So I keep it and save it for some other purpose. So now you can see the mixture I make. This is the peat moss. You can see there's a lot more bark present opposed to just this dust that was left. I have the perlite over here, which is much more coarse. That's going to allow water through. And this is the perlite that's been sifted. And then over on the right, I've got all my gravel. Once again, nice and coarse. All the pebbles are about the same size. And you have just the regular sand that was sifted out. Now with the gravel, you can also see the size of the rocks that I've taken out. Some of these aren't way too big, but I like to just take them out as well, just so the gravel's a little bit more even. So now I'm going to go ahead and take all the sifted material and separated material out. Get that out of the way so I don't mix it back in. So I got most of that sifted material out. There's still a little bit, but this won't affect the bonsai soil nearly as much. Now all you have to do is, and you can tell there's about double the amount of perlite and gravel to the organic mix, which I'm using the peat moss. So I've got 2 inorganics and 1 organic. I always like to double up the inorganics just so there's a good mixture. So I'll just go ahead with my hands and mix that all up. And this is a rough estimate of how much you're going to need. Once it's mixed up, you'll be able to see if you need to add a little bit more or if you need to, fix the ratio. this is actually looking pretty good as a mixture. So this is looking good as a mixture. You can see there's a good amount of peat moss bits in there. You can see the perlite and you can see the gravel. There's not too much inorganic, or there's not too much organic material being the perlite. You don't want it to be heavily organic material, or it'll keep the soil too wet and clog up over time. So I think this is a good mixture to have. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy planting!